Hello, I am Rose Benjamin.
I'm Ken Benjamin. We're elders at Living Worship International Ministries, and we were answering the question, what is it like to be pastored by Pastor Richard Johnson? Mm, what a question.
Mhm.
You can start, honey.
He's been pastoring us since before he was a pastor. He was actually an elder when he started pastoring us. He actually started pastoring us before Mr. Benjamin started coming to church. So,
Long time ago.
long time ago.
Yeah, I think that's just something about him, his personality. He takes that personal interest in individuals. I guess beyond what was the cell meeting, he really, really poured into our lives and into the lives of our children. Um, we started with Living Worship when it started in the den of their home
Hmm.
on Meadow Springs Drive.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing of it is, it wasn't a lot of difference um, what he did then as to what he did before, because as my wife said, he's always pastored.
Yeah.
Um, he was doing it, more one on one.
Hmm.
I guess you could say both him and Pastor Veronica they stepped out there in faith and just really did what the Lord called them to do.
Hmm.
But with Pastor Richard, I call him the Iron Fist and the Velvet Glove. He's
Wow.
very strong, has a very strong personality, but he's very smooth with it.
Hmm.
It's not overbearing. The strength is there, but it's tempered with compassion. He's an individual who really cares, but really cares for the Lord and making sure that he speaks that truth and he speaks it with boldness, but at the same time with compassion. A
Hmm.
very balanced individual.
Hmm. And as a pastor, he's such a father. And what I love about him is that no matter what the situation is, Pastor Richard has a very smooth way of dealing with things. And one of his favorite sayings that he says to us all the time is, "Take it easy, greasy. You got a long way to
Long way to
slide."
slide.
And one of the best pieces of advice that he gave me as a pastor, I was really, really mad at Mr. Benjamin. Oh my gosh, I was so mad. I don't know what it was about, because I get mad. And so he said, "Well, Rose, I don't want you to talk to Ken right now." He said, "What I want you to do is pray." He said, "I want you to ask the Lord to heal your heart." He said, "Then when you talk to Ken, I want you to talk to him with the same respect and reverence that you would if you were talking to the Holy Spirit." My God. My God. That was life changing for me. That transformed the way that I communicated with my husband. And it was like a whole process, and it worked. It worked, and it made me able to, no matter what I was going through with my husband, be able to speak to him with respect and reverence. And he said one thing. He said, "Rose, do you want to get your point across, or do you want your husband to hear your heart?" And I wanted Mr. Benjamin to hear my heart, and he did. And so we say thank you to Pastor Richard, because he really has pastored us. He's pastored our children, and he's done it from a place of love and also from a place of authority. And we really respect him.
Yes, and I think especially the men in Living Worship really love the fact that he lives what he says.
Yeah,
He models it in front of us daily. Um, Definitely not the one to say one thing and do another.
that's true.
Um, if he actually said nothing, you would learn simply by watching.
Mm,
And I love the way that he talks to, treats, and deal with his wife and his children.
yes.
It really sets an example of, really how husbands should. And, with him being a pastor, there's never that overbearing thing. He's never one to um, lean too heavily on the authority.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you see someone like that constantly putting his wife first and always honoring his wife,
Yeah.
and always lifting up his children.
Mm-hmm.
It really gives you an example to live by. But there are just so many things, um, great things about this man. I would have to say you would just simply have to spend time with him. Um, the video's not long enough to really go into it all, but the more you are around him, I think the more you see the Lord working through him.
Mm-hmm. And he's so hands on. Also, he is the type of person that I remember one time Ken was having a situation on his job, and Pastor Richard called him at the opportune moment, and it saved somebody's life. He's a lifesaver.
Yes, this is true. This is true. Um, like I said, just a lot of great
Yeah.
things about a great man. Um, I'm really fortunate. We are really fortunate um, to be staked to someone that we get along with, admire, and love so well. I mean, I don't know in the scriptures, some of the prophets and so forth that had to work together, it never mentions whether or not they got along. We don't know if Elijah and Elijah were cool, were they boys? We don't know, they might have barely been able to tolerate each other as far as we know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, however, they knew the calling that the Lord had for them and they operated in it. But, it is truly a blessing when the Lord calls you somewhere and you are under the authority of someone like a Pastor Richard.
Yeah.
Makes it really, really easy. Um, he is what I call a true leader.
Yes.
Um, in an age where everybody wants to be a boss, he's a leader.
Yes.
Um, you can only push a person so far, but a leader is someone who has people follow him, um, literally wherever he goes.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely a standout quality with Pastor Richard is that leadership ability, and I would have to throw in there a sense of humor that is I can only call it God given. Uh, I like Pastor Richard's jokes. I don't care what nobody says. I think they are great and they are excellently timed. But the thing I like about Pastor Richard's jokes is that he can make a joke and he can find something humorous and funny to say when you really, really need it.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, sometimes it's just that joke that you have to stop and laugh, and when you laugh, it's like you kind of take a breath
Yeah.
and you kind of step back from the situation and you can look at it a little differently from a different perspective. But yeah, that sense of humor is that's from the Lord.
So corny. Oh. Well, we hope you guys have a great evening tonight. And Pastor Richard, we love you so much.
Absolutely, from the bottom of our hearts, from me, Rose, and the Benjamin family.